Well, hello, welcome back to the podcast. My name is Elliott. It is so good to see you. Well, I can't see you, but you can see me, or you're hearing me. Anyway, I'm excited that you're here. If this is your first time ever listening to this podcast, I need you to do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead, if you're on YouTube, hit the notification bell so that you know when we upload new stuff. Because I want you to be involved. I want you to be engaged. And we make some good episodes, man. I tell you what. So, and this one is... like, it's right on par with the best episode we ever have. I think so, personally. My guest today, it's going to be fun, okay? Guest, could you tell them who you are, guest?
Yes, so my name is Tess Knight, and I'm the administrative assistant here at Stateline Church.
Administrative assistant, okay.
That's the title. Mm-hmm.
Could you tell me what that is?
Yeah, so I'm kind of like the background person. I get to help everyone on staff to some capacity, and it's a lot of fun. Interesting.
So how did you come about being administrative assistant? Was it like, were you asked, did you apply for it? Mm-hmm. Was there like a process? How did that work?
Long story short, my parents are friends with Greg and Andrea, and they got dinner with them one night, and Greg mentioned to my mom that they were looking for an administrative assistant, and my mom said, I think I know somebody, and she mentioned my name. He encouraged my mom to tell me to apply, so I reached out to Greg, I applied, and the rest is history.
Really?
Yeah.
That is so interesting. So what did you think the job was going to be like before you accepted it?
I thought I would be doing a lot of, like, stuff on the computer, helping... primarily Greg and Tyler. And doing all sorts of little tedious tasks. Yeah. So that's what I imagined. But. So
what, did it meet your imagination or was it?
I feel like every year it exceeds my imagination. I didn't expect to help everyone on staff initially. Mm-hmm. So it's been fun to work with everyone, get to know everyone and help in different areas of ministry, because it's not just like I'm focused on the tasks that Greg and Tyler give me, but I also get to help Leslie with host team stuff and group stuff. I've gotten to help you guys with student stuff in the past. I've got to help the kids team, and so it's been fun to see every ministry's workings behind the scene.
Yeah, that's super cool. It's funny, sometimes I wonder, like, how things get done. Like, there are certain projects, there are certain things where I'm like, wait a minute, I know you didn't have time to do that. Like, who did that? And it all, like, you're like the glue that holds everything together, which is really cool. So I obviously appreciate you. But like you mentioned, like, we all work together, but every ministry is definitely different. So I'm curious, are there things, like, what's the weirdest thing someone has asked you to do for the sake of their ministry?
Yeah. The first thing that comes to mind is that game that we played recently up on stage when people had to eat weird stuff. So I had to go shopping and I had to go find weird things for people to eat on stage in case they landed on, I don't even remember what the title of the sermon was anymore, but I think I bought like squid and ink sauce. That was real weird. Yeah. Someone had to eat it too. I'm pretty sure Brent Pendenberg had to eat it.
Where do you find that at?
I got it at Valley Produce. They had like a whole aisle of random fish in cans. So
interesting.
That was interesting.
So if you are ever wondering if you can buy squid ink,
you can.
And
just go to Valley.
What do you remember? What aisle that was in, just in case?
I was in one of the front aisles to the far. I think it was in the back front like area in the far left.
That is so funny.
Yep, they had all sorts of things: squid and oysters and sardines, and so I just got to pick and.
Dang.
Went for it.
That's really funny to me. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think it's funny because I don't think people think about those types of things. You know what I mean? Like, someone had to go get that. Mm-hmm. And it just cracks me up. What would you say is your favorite part of your job?
Yeah. My favorite part is working with everyone. I really love community. And so the opportunity to work with each team and each getting to work with you guys, like you and Chelsea, and then with Leslie and Caroline and Beth Ann and Greg and Tyler. It's just fun to see everyone's passion and their excitement and to come alongside them so that I can help them get to the end goal.
Yeah. What are some things that you're learning through this job? Because, I mean, I think everybody learns. God has everybody in a specific position in each and every season of their life, and I'm just curious. Are there things that God is doing in your life through this job? Are you learning things? I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, I think this job is very humbling because it's easy to want to be seen and appreciated, and people don't know who I am, or I'm not the upfront person, and so it's very humbling to know that I'm part of a bigger story and get to play a role in that. Yeah. But I'm not the attention isn't on me, and that's a good thing. Yeah. And I think we all need that at times. So it's a very humbling experience, and I've definitely grown in that. And it's just been fun to grow in a community with the fellow staff members and see the body of Christ work in that fashion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, I know that one of the things that I struggle with is humility. And I think sometimes too, when I have to take a back seat or when I have to be behind the scenes and producing stuff, sometimes it's hard for me to process because I'm thinking about, well, God, you gave me these specific gifts that seem for me, in my specific example is communication, right? God, you gave me this gift, I want to use it. You know what I mean? But I think sometimes we need to realize no, you, just like you said, we are a part of a bigger story. It's not just about you. It's about all of you, and all of it is, all of it is to and for the glory of God. And so,
absolutely.
Sometimes I just think about the fact that I'm just so grateful for the team that I'm on. And I think about the fact that they're, without all of the people that we have on staff, Stateline just isn't Stateline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, I was just man, I appreciate Tess, and I want to get her on the podcast.
Well, I appreciate being here
because I really do want to hear, from your perspective, and I do want to learn. And one thing that I can truly say is that I have learned a lot of lessons about humility through you.
Thanks.
And you keep me on track and on task. So that's always helpful for me because that is not a strong suit. So, which actually leads me to my next question. What's it like working with all of the different temperaments and personnel, and you got ultra creative people who their heads are always in the cloud, me and Zach, and then you got super type A people who are by the book, Tyler. So I'm curious, what's that like?
Yeah, I think it's been fun to navigate how to approach everyone since I have to work with everyone. It's fun to, I think when we went through the Enneagram information as a staff, it was very helpful for me because it gave me an idea of everyone's personalities and how I can best interact with all of you. But I know approaching Tyler is different than approaching you or approaching Chelsea or approaching, you all have unique gifts and talents and personalities. And so I've learned sometimes I may have to follow up with you twice, and sometimes I don't have to follow up with you twice, but I know I should maybe ask this person a little bit ahead of time, but it's great because it gives them the opportunity to use their gifts and their capacity. So it's been fun to navigate. Initially it was a little frustrating, but as I've learned everybody, I think I'm very type A, so I'm give me your stuff, let me do, because my job relies on all of you. And so in order for me to do well in my job, I'm dependent on all of you.
Oh, okay.
And so I have to learn how you all work so that I can do my job to its fullest potential.
So dang, that's interesting. So it's almost to be less frustrated, it's better for you to understand the people that you work with so that you can just so do you plan your day around what people will or will not do, basically?
Pretty much.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
I feel like now I have a good idea of week to week what to do and how to do it in what order, because I know when people will give me things and when I need to talk to people about certain things.
Dang.
But that comes with time and getting to know people.
So, man, do these things help you? You feel like these things have helped you, like, in your personal life? Do you think, okay, actually, I'll ask it this way. Did you have those skills before you started, or do you feel like it's something that you've developed since you started?
I feel like there was always like an there's part of me that understood that, but it's reached a higher potential in this role just because I've never worked with a team of this size, and it's my job before this, it was a small staff, and so we were very reliant on each other, and we were all type A people, and so it just functioned differently.
Yeah.
Where this staff, we're all uniquely very different, and we're not all type A.
Yeah.
And so I've grown in that sense. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah. So have you seen, like, your skill set that you've grown in? Have you seen that play out in your personal life as well?
Yeah, I think I have more understanding in my home when things aren't in the order that I think it should go.
Yeah.
And I think some of that's just as you get older, you have a little more patience and understanding of people. But I'm sure this I'm sure this job has helped. But yeah, I've learned like not to expect things immediately and like give people time and a chance and to recognize people work. Like you have to keep people accountable, but you also have to recognize who they are and give them the opportunity to function in their unique gifting.
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more because that's interesting to me. What's the balance like between keeping people accountable, but also like letting them breathe, like giving them their space? Like, how do you kind of navigate that?
I think it all comes down to having a good time frame. I'm a planner, so like in college, I would always write my due dates like 2 weeks before the due date so that I had things done in time. Yeah. And so I think you allow that breathing room because then it's like if that date that I wrote down comes up and I'm still not quite done, I have that breathing room, but I'm still accountable to getting it done. Yeah. And so it's like knowing that certain people are good about due dates and like are timely and whatnot. Well, there are other people who are more creative and have more going on in their head where they're just developing things, and it gives them the chance to have that breathing room and to get to that place. Yeah. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. It's just so interesting because I am very impatient, and I don't know. Sometimes I get stuck on things and I get really frustrated, and I don't know how necessarily how to navigate it. But I think what you were saying about like giving yourself an opportunity, like giving yourself space and giving yourself time, I'm the kind of person who's like, I think of an idea and I'm like, okay, I have to do it today. And if I don't do it today, then I have to do it tomorrow. And that's the final, and as opposed to like, okay, well, wait a minute, Elliot, like you have plenty of time to get this done. Like, you can think about your schedule, and I don't think like that. And so it's helpful for me to be like, okay, well, give yourself grace, but also like know yourself and like understand like how you work. So that's what I got from it. I don't know if
that's what I was saying.
I'm like, I have so many questions, but I'm trying to figure out, like, I don't want to, like, overwhelm you with all the questions that I have in my brain. So what would be your advice to someone who is struggling with patience? Not to say, like, you're the doctor of patience and you know everything, but, like, since you get an opportunity every day to work with so many different people and your job sort of relies on people that are all different, what would you say to someone who maybe is like struggling in a situation that like requires patience? Yeah,
that's a loaded question.
There's no wrong answer. It's just your answer.
Yes. I'm very fortunate because I had parents who were very patient, and so it was modeled very well for me. And so I think I reflect on the way that I was raised. And like when mistakes were made, it wasn't met with anger and frustration. So I think I've learned that instead of becoming like leaning into that frustration, I try to just calm myself and whether that's taking a couple of deep breaths or just walking away for a moment or just calming my brain and giving it a chance to like cool off or whatever is very helpful. And so I just try not to let things affect me deeply or I try to think of both sides of the story if there's like something going on or I just try to give people the benefit of the doubt and I think that helps me be patient with people because I'm trying to think, okay, well, what may have happened or what's going on that may have caused that person to be behind or not to be caught up or to have done or said something. And that allows me to be a little more patient. I'm by no means perfect, though. So if that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. So just really thinking of the problem or the issue from all sides as opposed to just your perspective. Like really seeing, other people's perspective, which honestly I think speaks to your heart a lot. I know a lot of people who it's like judgment, hell, and brimstone as soon as something is wrong, and so and I'm sure there are some of like our listeners / viewers who like might be going through something that requires patience, and so it might be helpful. And that doesn't mean that it's easy to think of, especially if someone is like wronged you or offended you. It's not easy to be like, oh, okay, like let me think about them for a second. I'm thinking about punching them in the face, but like, let me think about maybe what they're going through is like, for one, maybe a perspective that someone hasn't ever thought about, So, I know that helps me. That's not something that I really ever think about either. It's like really think and process through, okay, what's going on in this person's life that could be a snowball effect, or what's on their plate maybe that, so that's really good. I think that's super good.
My brother-in-law once told me, assume the best until you're proven wrong. And it's something that's always stood out to me of just like, there's no reason for me to assume that their intentions were harsh or mean or anything like that, or that they're trying to make my job harder. Oftentimes it's not anything remotely ill-willed or anything like that. But sometimes we just jump to that. So that is a helpful thing to remember.
Super helpful. Can you say that again? What was it?
Yeah. So assume the best until you're proven wrong.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So you have been working with, how long have you been here?
Almost 3 years.
Almost 3 years. Okay. So did you always foresee yourself working with people? Like, was that when you were like, I'm going to work with people at some point, really? Yeah.
I've always had a heart to work with people, and I've always had a heart for ministry. And so even I love serving in the church because I love working with people and having the opportunity to see people's gifts and talents grow is something I love to watch. And so, and I just think everyone has a story to share. So it's fun to be in the background and just hear all of that and celebrate with people.
Yeah. So do you foresee yourself being like an admin for the rest of your life, or do you have like other things that you're pursuing that also involve people or ministry? Like what's your like end goal?
Yeah. So as much as I love being an admin, it's not something I foresee doing forever. I would love to be more intimately involved with people and their stories, and so I'm currently actually getting my master's in mental health counseling.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I have a big desire to just meet people where they're at and hear their stories and help them walk through their rough circumstances and even rejoice with them in their high moments. And so one day I hope to be a professional counselor, and that's the end goal. And beyond that, I don't know, but that's something that I'm very passionate about. I got my undergrad in pre-counseling, so it's something I've always thought I would pursue. It's just school is a lot of work, and I needed a break. And but I'm thankful that I have the opportunity to pursue it now, and look forward to everything that's ahead.
Yeah. Well, I support you 100%. I think that's
Thanks.
I think that's right along the lines of what I could see you doing, honestly. So, I just thought I'd ask. I'm curious, and it's crazy. There are some people that, like, for example, in my field, there are some people that are like youth pastor till the day I die, right? And there are other people who are like, whatever God brings, He brings, and so I always wonder, like, God works in seasons, and so I always wonder, like, is there something that, like, God has put on this person's heart, or is there, what's the next season for you? So that's really cool. That's
I'm excited.
Awesome. So how far along are you in your school, in your I don't know if it's like once you get to a master's, is it like a year? Like, what year are you? Like, are you like?
I don't know. It's probably different for every program. So I'm in my second semester.
Okay.
There's 7 semesters, so
Dang.
I still have some time. So I have like a little over a year and a half left. But
well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so getting going, and it's been fun and stressful, but take what you get. So
that's super awesome. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I learned a whole lot about patience and a whole lot about working with people, and hopefully I can practice these starting like, I don't know, tomorrow. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did.
And I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't, I don't care. Still subscribe. Still like it. Still hit the notification bell. Until the next one, we'll see you later. Bye.